Know where you are, mister.
Coach, you've talked before about last year's Game 7 against Edmonton, just the thought you put into the lineup the night before. Obviously, once the game starts, you want things to be the same. But for yourself, do you look at the lineup and guys differently when it comes to a Game 7, just given maybe their experience or what you might expect out of them?
Yeah, I mean, that factor the question, if you have a decision to make on two players, who do you think has a style that or maybe sometimes a personality that would lend itself to kind of being able to be present in the moment, enjoy it, truly enjoy them for what they are, the excitement of them. The less tense guy maybe, but now at that point, these guys are also specialized in what they do. You'll put your lineup based on what fits it.
How helpful have you found it to be that when you go into a best-of-7 series, you just presume it's going to be 7 games, and you work accordingly in terms of trying to carve out an edge for by the time that 7th game rolls around?
You know, when you get to the playoffs, you never want to have to walk into your room and say something for the first time. It's the first time that they hear that, unless it's somewhat inspirational. You don't want it to be technical. Hey, we're changing this, and you don't want it to be, better yet, you want it to be something that you've planned for and talked about. So the Game 7 idea is something that we talk about before every series. We talk about it in the regular season, as a matter of fact. The style of play that leads to the Game 7 is where we want to get to.
Paul, you've coached the biggest Game 7 of your career last year, I presume. Craig Berube also has that experience. What does it change, if anything, in your perspective going into tomorrow's game, the fact that you've gone through that?
I imagine if you have positive experiences with them, you look forward to it. And then I'm not sure that how much experience the coach has with Game 7 matters all that much. There's probably some guys in your lineup that don't have any Game 7 experience, and they may be great at it because they don't have any. Who knows, right? Like, I don't know what the value of all your experience is. That's a great idea if you have 20 years of experience, but it's the same experience for every year for 20 years. You only have 1 year experience. So, yeah. It's going to be exciting. That's about all I can come up with right now.
There's something there, though, right? I mean, you're what, 5-0 in Game 7s? Is that the stat from last year? Because I didn't add after Game 7. I forgot. But something like that. I mean, do you dig this?
Use your whatever stats you want, George, as long as they're flattering.
But, I mean, do you get jacked? I mean, this is obviously a different than Game 7 against Edmonton, where you're coming in and the TVs are on, but
I'm trying to think about what the truth is. Would you be less jacked up because it's just a Game 6? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really saving my best coaching for Game 7. That doesn't sound like a very good recipe of getting to Game 7 ever. But personally, I enjoy them, right? And as you get older, you enjoy the more unusual events of your life. I think you're more aware of them. So Game 7 is cool.
Is there anyone you rely on among the players more, whether it's a leader, a guy with a letter, or someone who cuts the tension, or, you know, what sort of impact do you see from the personalities in the locker room in this situation?
Yeah, it's a good question, Emily. Like, who will I try to get to between now and game time? I don't think that I'm going to manufacture a meeting with any one player, but I'll just make sure I'm in public spaces a fair amount, and that they hear the have some fun tonight kind of idea. There'll be a couple of guys that I'll talk to. Make sure that they connect with the other. The most important thing is the players are connecting with each other. It's not me. So whether they're playing cards on the plane, where they're eating dinner, it's not quiet. They're constantly making those connections. That's the important thing.
I guess in that vein, is there anything you've heard a player say before a Game 7 that's resonated?
No. The best line ever was in Junior Memorial Cup. I'm not going to fire his name. As a matter of fact, I just saw him, but he said, fellas, we got to win tonight because this is probably going to be a bunch of our last game of organized hockey. I thought that was an awesome line. Oh, man. And it was, right? You play major, junior, there's a bunch of 19-year-old guys that aren't going to turn pro, and that was it. That was their last game. I thought that was pretty good. So no, they didn't win, no.
That doesn't resonate quite with this group in the same way.
not the same thing, so I don't think anybody's going to use it. You asked me what was the best line I've heard. That was the best line I've heard. It's going to be the last game, and we fire that one out all the time, that group of guys, so.
This is not what I was going to ask, but along those lines, then where does Lomberg's Together Forever from last year rank on that list?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how that all transpired. It may well be his. May well be another guy's. I don't know.
He was a pretty original guy. We can assume.
Just we can give that. You can keep that one. I'm not trying to take it away from him. I just wasn't really a part of that. I didn't sign the board, so. Usually, if you sign the board, you got to put money on it, so I can't do that.
I'm going to try to ask this more smartly to you than I did to Ekblad because I walked into him telling me that we're all wrong, which we often are. But you're using words like cool and Craig Berube called Game 7 fun, and the players are obviously going to be all excited. Like, do we all miss the point about Game 7 when we talk about the pressure and, oh my gosh, if we don't win this game, the stakes are so catastrophic. And this is kind of what you want, isn't it?
No, you want to win in 4. You do. 100%. But the Game 7s you'll remember, right? Those are the ones that, there are not a lot of them. The further into the playoffs, the more intense they are. But there's a freedom in Game 7 that's not anywhere else. I mean, on both teams, you got guys dealing with stuff, physical stuff. And they will say, I just got to play one more game. Now, if they get to play one more game after that, they'll deal with that then. But in the moment, in the warm-up, whatever they're dealing with becomes far more mentally manageable. So everybody goes and everybody goes hard. There's a freedom to Game 7 that's not, it's not like any other, both these teams, I don't know. They've kind of earned it, right? They've earned the right to go flat out as hard as they can and enjoy the process of it. Because they haven't failed to get to a Game 7. Now, we were carrying a little different weight last year going into our last Game 7 because we kind of took the long road. But when we're down 0-2, they're down 3-2, both teams have battled hard, both teams have earned the right to enjoy this. Yeah.
Last question, due to time, we have to make the.
I just wanted to ask you about, I'm sure you've watched the tape now, cut it up and all that from last night. Do you feel like the adjustments can be made? A lot of outside shots last night. Didn't seem like a lot was going inside. I think you had 4 high danger shots, something like that.
Yeah.
That's not your style. That isn't how you guys play. Do you feel like you can get back to the north-south that you guys like to do?
I would describe, you're right on what you said as a thematic. I mean, I'll just leave it this way. I believe we had 81 shot attempts. Yeah. Okay, so then you got 22 to the net. That would be the stat that would jump out at you before you even watch the video, and then you go in and say why. And we gave up 41 shot attempts and 17 got to our net. We're probably going, that's pretty good against a pretty good offensive team, right? Finished with 108 points. So I don't mind that part of the game for us. How do we take that 81 and maybe what we need to do is have 71 or 61 shot attempts, right? So there's lots of different ways to look at it. We looked at that pretty hard this morning.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, everybody.